the hollow tree of Dagger Moor. The wind howled through the broken teeth of Dagger Moor, an ancient stretch of barren land clawing toward the sky like something long dead but never buried. A desolation blanketed the place, wind-scoured rocks, withered heather, and thickets of thorn that bled black sap. The moor stretched for miles in every direction, and under its gray sky, even the crows flew wide of it. Legends whispered that this land had once been part of a forgotten kingdom, a realm swallowed by the earth for crimes older than language. Nothing grew there now but silence, and at the heart of the moor stood the hollow tree. It was a thing of rot and shadow, towering and leafless, its blackened trunk cracked with scars that glowed faintly red on moonless nights. The hollow at its center yawned wide enough for a grown man to walk through. Those who approached too closely spoke of a feeling like being watched, not from the tree, but through it, as if something far beyond had noticed them. The villagers of nearby Greymere feared it. They told stories in low voices around their hearths, of hunters lost without trace, of wandering children never found, of a woman in a tattered bridal gown who sometimes appeared when the mist was thickest, face veiled and hands bloodless. They called her the Shadow Bride, and if you met her gaze, it was said, you would not live to speak of it. Elias Flint didn't believe in ghost stories. He was a grave digger's apprentice, familiar with death, its smell, its weight, its silence. He had seen bodies in all their ruined states and knew the difference between what was dead and what was gone. He'd buried his own parents at 16, and now, at 23, he had learned to stop hoping for happy endings. But when his younger sister Lena vanished on the moor, something inside him broke. She had gone looking for a missing goat, wearing his old coat and her favorite red scarf. That night a storm rolled in from the west, black and wet, and when it passed there was no trace of her, only the scarf, snagged on a thorn, stained with something darker than rain. 7 days passed, search parties gave up. The villagers muttered of curses and fate, but Elias would not give her up. So at dawn on the 8th day, he left Greymere with a rusted lantern, a dagger at his hip, and the red scarf tied tightly around his wrist like a tether to her memory. He crossed into Dagger Moor as the fog rolled low, curling like fingers through the thorn brush. No birds sang, no insects hummed. Even his own heartbeat felt muffled by the weight of the place. The moor seemed to resist him. The paths shifted, the stones turned unfamiliar. Hours passed, and still he wandered, refusing to be turned back. And then, like a wound reopening, the hollow tree appeared. It loomed before him, skeletal and vast, its bark like charred bone, the hollow in its center darker than any shadow Elias had ever seen. The air was colder here, and tinged with a scent he could not name, part rust, part decay, part memory. For the first time, Elias felt fear. Still, he stepped inside. Darkness consumed him instantly, thick and cloying. His lantern flickered as the tree's interior spiraled downward, a narrow passage of damp root and twisted stone. The deeper he went, the more the air felt old. Not in years, but in age, prehistoric. Something beneath language, beneath time. He emerged into a vast underground chamber. It was a cathedral of earth and root, lit by a sourceless blue light that pulsed gently, like the heartbeat of some buried god. At its center stood a throne of bone, human and animal fused together, ribs flaring like wings, vertebrae curled into armrests, and seated upon it was the Shadow Bride. Her gown shimmered like ash, stitched with threads of silver and sorrow. A veil hung over her face, and beneath it, two glowing eyes pierced the dark. Around her feet were bones, hundreds of them, some ancient, others disturbingly fresh. The silence was suffocating. Elias tightened his grip on the dagger. "Lena," he called, his voice fragile in the vastness. "Where is she?" The Shadow Bride tilted her head. From behind the veil came a voice like winter wind through dead branches. "She is here," she said, "and she is at peace." From the shadows behind the throne, a figure stepped forward, his sister. But her eyes were wrong, clouded, her face slack. Her mouth sewn shut with gleaming silver thread. Elias took a step forward, but the earth groaned, and vines erupted from the ground, binding his ankles and wrists in one breath. The roots snaked up his legs, pulsing with strange heat. "She came to me," the bride whispered, rising. "Frightened, alone, a soul unraveling at the seams. I offered silence, I offered stillness." "She's not yours," Elias growled, struggling. "She's mine. She's my sister." "That blood binds you," the bride agreed, circling him. "It grants you a choice. Would you trade her place? One soul for another?" Elias looked at Lena. Tears shimmered in her hollow gaze. "Yes," he said. "Take me instead." The Shadow Bride stopped before him. "To offer yourself freely is rare," she murmured, reaching out. "And beautiful." Her fingers touched his chest, and agony bloomed. Elias screamed as the vines burrowed through his skin, threading into muscle and bone. Darkness poured into him, memories not his own, of a kingdom built beneath the earth, ruled by a queen who spoke to shadows and married the dark. A kingdom betrayed by sunlight, cursed to rot forever. The queen's heart had been torn out by her own priestesses, sealed inside the hollow tree to keep her hunger contained. But it had not held. The Shadow Bride was no ghost. She was the hunger. And now she would wear him. Elias fell to his knees as the transformation began. His eyes turned black. His voice shriveled. The lantern shattered at his feet, extinguishing its tiny flame. Somewhere in the fog of his unraveling mind, he heard Lena's cry, sharp, human, breaking the silence. The silver threads had vanished from her lips. He had freed her. The hollow tree shook with a deep, bone-cracking groan. The bride retreated, her hands dripping shadow. "Go," she hissed to Lena, "before I forget the bargain." Lena didn't wait. She fled through the tunnel, screaming her brother's name, though she knew he would never follow. When she reached the surface, the moor was brighter, the clouds thinner, the air lighter. She collapsed among the thorns and wept until dusk. Behind her, the hollow tree stood still. Its hollow was gone. Bark had sealed the opening shut like a wound closed with scar tissue. It had fed, and it would sleep. For a time. Back in Greymere, Lena never spoke of what she had seen. She left the village the next spring, bound for the sea. But sometimes, in dreams, she saw the hollow tree. And him. They say that on certain nights, when the mist is thick and the wind is still, travelers on Dagger Moor see a figure standing beneath the tree. A man in a grave-digger's coat, his eyes black as coal, a red scarf tied around his wrist like blood that will never dry. He does not speak. He waits. And the hollow tree waits with him, its roots deep in the bones of a kingdom long dead, its hunger ancient and endless. You may seek it if you wish. You may enter if you're brave or foolish. But remember, what you give to the dark you do not get back.